So, imagine waking up, grabbing your coffee, and realizing that your absolute favorite standalone AI coding application has just vanished, swallowed whole by an entirely different platform overnight. Well, that is exactly what just happened. OpenAI abruptly took their power user platform Codex and merged it directly into the main ChatGPT interface. Welcome back, deep divers. Why in the world did OpenAI make this massive, sudden shift? And honestly, more importantly, how do you navigate this entirely new ecosystem without getting totally left behind?
In today's Deep Dive Classroom, we're going to figure out exactly why this happened and how you can take full advantage of it. The goal for this explainer is simple. We are going to master the capability ladder of this brand new AI operating system. So I want you to grab a notebook, really think along with me here, and get ready to completely transform how you approach your daily workflows.
We have got a packed agenda today. We're going to cover the merge, unpacking GPT 5.6, computer use, agentic loops, the building block economy, and finally, we'll wrap up with the AI super app. All right, let's jump right in.
Okay, Section 1, the merge, bringing 983 million users on board. Look, OpenAI didn't just smash two apps together on a whim. The whole idea here is adoption at a truly staggering scale. OpenAI has nearly 1 billion general users right now, 983 million to be exact. And the vast majority of those people, they're really just typing basic questions into a chat box. They have absolutely no idea what true agentic AI can actually do. So this merge is essentially OpenAI's Trojan horse to onboard the entire world into an autonomous ecosystem.
To manage this massive crowd, they've actually split the user interface. You essentially have two distinct areas now. There's the Work tab, which is completely designed for your everyday knowledge worker. If you're just transitioning to AI, maybe you just want to draft an email or summarize a PDF, this is your safe space. But then there's the Codex tab. Deep divers, if you are building apps, if you're setting up autonomous workflows or functioning as a power user, the Codex tab is where you're going to live. It's basically separating the casual chatters from the software factory managers.
Moving right along to Section 2, unpacking GPT 5.6, the engine driving automation. Because let's be real, you can't run a software factory without the right workers. And OpenAI just quietly rolled out an entirely new hierarchy of AI intelligence to staff yours.
Think of these new models like your employees. First, you've got Terra and Luna. These are your entry-level workers handling the everyday, lightweight tasks over in the Work tab. Then, stepping it up, we have GPT 5.6 Soul. Think of Soul as your hyper-efficient, super-eager middle manager. It's incredibly token-efficient, it's fantastic at calling external tools without getting infused, and it's absolutely perfect for long-running, multi-step tasks. And then, there is Fable. Fable isn't just a version bump, it is a Mythos-class monster. Think of Fable as your genius architect. When you need sheer, unmatched intelligence to, say, port an entire application with one single prompt, Fable is what you pull out. The real trick to mastering this platform is knowing when to deploy your efficient middle manager Soul and when you actually need to pay up for the genius architect, Fable.
Which brings us perfectly to the capabilities these models actually unlock. Section 3, computer use. This is the first autonomous superpower you've absolutely got to understand if you want to scale your output.
Stated simply, computer use is exactly what it sounds like. It's an AI agent's ability to literally operate a computer interface to get things done. But here is the absolutely critical distinction you need to remember. With competitors like Anthropic's Claude, when you activate computer use, it completely takes over your screen. You have to just sit there and watch it move your mouse around. But with Codex, it spins up a virtual browser and runs these operations totally silently in the background. You can literally switch to a new tab and just keep working while the AI operates its own separate computer behind the scenes. It's a game changer.
You can have it automatically QA test an app, literally clicking through every single button to find edge cases. You can have it fill out massive, boring spreadsheets. But for those of us who aren't software engineers, the true killer feature here is record and replay. You hit record, you do your annoying, repetitive manual task for up to 30 minutes, and the AI converts that recording into a permanent skill it can just execute forever. So deep divers, here's a little thought experiment for you. What manual 30-minute task are you going to record today so you literally never have to do it again? Seriously, think about that as we move into our next superpower.
Now for Section 4, agentic loops. This is the second autonomous superpower, and it acts as the AI's built-in quality control system. If computer use is the AI's hands, while agentic loops are the AI's critical eye.
A loop is basically how you guarantee the AI perfects its work without you needing to sit there and micromanage it.
It's built on 3 really simple steps. Step 1, provide a well-defined prompt. Just tell it exactly what to make. Step 2, connect a feedback engine. This means giving the AI a gold standard to compare its own work against. And step 3, define strict success criteria. You tell the agent, hey, do not stop working, fixing, and iterating until your work scores a perfect 5 out of 5 against the standard. Let's look at how wildly applicable this is. In development, you can have 5.6 Sol write some code, review its own code incredibly harshly, and rewrite it until it gives itself a perfect score. But let's say you're in marketing. You can connect an API called Foreplay, which is this massive ad research library, and it pulls down the longest-running, highest-converting ads from your specific competitors. The AI then writes 20 scripts, compares them to those top competitors, and loops until it creates something just as compelling. Or in design, you hand it 20 of your absolute favorite YouTube thumbnails, and it grades its own generated art against your specific taste profile. Do you see the shift here? You are no longer generating rough drafts. You're generating finished, highly polished products.
And that brings us to Section 5, the building block economy and scaling your AI workforce. Okay, so the AI can now operate a computer and it can grade its own work, but what tools is it actually using to build things?
The thing is, agents don't build complex software from scratch line by line anymore. We're entering this era of building blocks. These are tools designed specifically for AI to snap together instantly, kind of like Legos. For example, if you ask Codex to build a web app, it'll just grab Convex for an instant database, it'll use Vercel Eve as a pre-configured digital workspace for its agents to live in, and it'll deploy Daytona to create a completely secure, isolated testing environment. You don't need to know how to configure a server anymore. The agent knows exactly which building blocks to use. You just have to sit back and be the manager who says yes or no.
10, that is the magic number. 10 is the number of isolated agent threads you can tell Codex to spin up simultaneously. Just imagine you have a list of 10 major updates you want for a project. You drop one single prompt, and the AI spins up 10 different virtual browser sessions in the background, tackling all 10 tasks in parallel, while you literally step away and go hang out with your family. Fresh context, fresh agents, all working at the exact same time. It is mind-blowing.
When you zoom out and look at all of this together, the new models, the loops, the multi-threading, you quickly realize we aren't just looking at a chatbot anymore. Section 6, the AI Super App. This is the new operating system.
Codex is effectively its own OS now. It features a fully functioning in-app browser that supports multiple tabs. That means OpenAI is shifting entirely away from external browsing to native, agent-driven web surfing. It also features Sites, which allows you to do what's called vibe coding. You just type out the aesthetic and feel you want in plain English, and it instantly builds and hosts a live website directly from your chat window. And for those of us doing daily knowledge work, it has cross-thread summarization. You can ask the AI to read across all your different active workflows and generate a single, clean, one-pager summarizing everything your employees accomplished for you today.
Which leads us to this incredibly profound realization from the source material. Most products are just markdown files now. Your ability to type complex syntax is no longer the bottleneck. The only limits you face now are your imagination, your personal taste, and your ability to clearly explain to an AI what success actually looks like. The technical barrier? It's just gone.
Deep divers, let's lock in our key takeaways from today's lesson. OpenAI merged these platforms to essentially trick the world into adopting an AI operating system. If you want to master it, you need to live in the Codex tab. Make sure you use GPT 5.6 Sol as your everyday manager, and save Fable for the really heavy lifting. Automate your manual tasks using background computer use and the record and replay feature, and guarantee perfection by setting up those agentic loops with strict feedback criteria. Remember, we are no longer chatting with computers. We are managing an intelligent parallel processing workforce.
So I'm going to ask you one more time, what manual 30-minute task are you going to record and replay today? Don't just watch this explainer and move on. Go open Codex right now and build your first AI skill. And hey, let me know what you automated down in the comments below. If this lesson helped you see the matrix a little bit clearer, please hit that like button, subscribe to keep leveling up your AI skills with us, and don't forget to check out the official Deep Dive Classroom merch on our Fourth Wall shop linked below. Keep exploring, deep divers, and I will see you in the next explainer.